Far away from roads, electricity, and the comforts of modern life, a remarkable challenge awaits. The goal isn't simply to survive in the wilderness, it's to transform nature into a functional, comfortable shelter built almost entirely from materials found in the forest. As the journey begins, towering trees stretch high above the forest floor, creating a dense green canopy that filters the sunlight into soft golden beams. Every step is accompanied by the sounds of chirping birds, buzzing insects, and the gentle rustling of leaves. The rainforest is alive, constantly moving, constantly breathing, and every sound reminds us that countless creatures share this environment. Rather than rushing straight into construction, the first priority is observation. In bushcraft, choosing the right location often determines whether a project succeeds or fails. A poor location can lead to flooding, unstable ground, falling branches, or endless discomfort. An experienced outdoorsman understands that patience during the planning stage saves enormous effort later. Moving carefully through thick vegetation, the explorer studies the landscape with a practiced eye. He isn't simply looking for open space, he's searching for natural advantages that can reduce workload while providing strength and protection for the shelter. Soon, something extraordinary appears among the dense jungle growth, a massive fallen tree. Unlike ordinary logs scattered across the forest floor, this giant trunk is enormous. Even after falling, it remains suspended above the ground, supported by surrounding trees and heavy branches. Nature itself has already created an elevated foundation. Immediately, the possibilities become obvious. Instead of constructing an entire platform from scratch, this fallen giant can serve as the backbone of an elevated treehouse-style cabin. Building above the ground offers many advantages. It helps avoid moisture, keeps insects at a distance, provides better airflow, and offers a safer place to sleep during heavy rain. The explorer circles the fallen tree slowly, examining every section. Stability comes first. A structure is only as safe as its foundation. He checks where the trunk rests against neighboring trees, looking for signs of movement or decay. Even though the tree has fallen, it must be strong enough to support additional weight without shifting. Only after carefully inspecting multiple points does he appear satisfied. The chosen location isn't random. It's protected by dense vegetation, naturally shaded from direct sunlight, and surrounded by an abundance of construction materials. Strong saplings, bamboo, vines, and fallen branches are available nearby, meaning less energy will be spent transporting supplies across difficult terrain. In survival situations, conserving energy is almost as important as finding food. Every unnecessary trip through dense jungle wastes valuable calories. With the site selected, preparation begins. The first task is clearing the immediate work area. Thick vines, tangled shrubs, and low branches are removed to create enough space to move safely around the massive trunk. A clean workspace reduces accidents and makes every future task more efficient. Using simple hand tools with steady, controlled movements, unwanted vegetation is cut away. Rather than hacking wildly, every swing has purpose. Efficient bushcraft relies on precision, not brute force. As the vegetation disappears, the true size of the fallen tree becomes even more impressive. Its diameter is enormous, suggesting that it stood in this forest for decades before finally collapsing. Even after falling, the tree continues serving the ecosystem. Moss, fungi, insects, and small plants have already begun reclaiming its surface. Now, it will gain another purpose as the frame for a remarkable shelter. With the area becoming more accessible, attention turns toward the root section of the tree. Massive exposed roots rise from the earth like natural walls, their twisted forms revealing the tremendous strength once required to anchor such a giant. These roots create interesting possibilities for storage, support, and wind protection. The explorer studies them carefully before continuing deeper around the trunk. Construction in remote forests demands constant awareness. Hidden holes, slippery roots, unstable branches, and venomous wildlife can all pose risks. Every step is deliberate, every movement calculated. Satisfied with the inspection, he begins collecting the first building materials. Rather than searching for freshly living trees, priority is given to naturally fallen timber whenever possible. Dead wood often provides excellent construction material while minimizing unnecessary impact on the surrounding forest. Long, straight poles are especially valuable. These will eventually become beams, supports, braces, and flooring components. Each selected pole is trimmed of branches before transport. Removing unnecessary weight makes carrying easier, while also producing cleaner building materials. Although the work appears repetitive, every pole has a specific purpose. Different diameters serve different structural roles. Thick logs provide strength, medium poles become framework, and thinner branches are ideal for bracing and roofing. Back at the construction site, the first pieces are carefully placed beside the fallen tree. Rather than beginning construction immediately, materials are organized into neat piles. Good organization prevents wasted effort later and allows each component to be found quickly during assembly. This small detail reflects experience. Professional builders, whether in cities or deep forests, understand that preparation increases efficiency throughout the project. After gathering an initial supply, attention shifts back to the giant trunk itself. Several loose sections of bark appear weathered and partially detached. These are carefully removed where necessary. Cleaning the working surface creates stronger contact points for future structural elements, while also eliminating areas that might crumble under weight. Large sheets of bark reveal fascinating textures underneath, showing years of growth preserved within the wood. Even though the tree is no longer alive, much of its core remains remarkably solid. That strength makes it an excellent natural foundation. The explorer pauses frequently to reassess the design. Bushcraft construction rarely follows detailed blueprints. Instead, each decision adapts to the unique features of the landscape. The forest itself becomes the architect. One support may move slightly to avoid a curved branch. Another beam may shift because a stronger attachment point is discovered nearby. Flexibility is one of the defining characteristics of wilderness construction. With preparation continuing, more poles are collected from surrounding forest areas. Some require cutting through dense vegetation. Others must be carefully maneuvered between standing trees. Transporting even lightweight timber across uneven jungle terrain demands patience and technique. Rather than dragging materials carelessly, the explorer balances each pole to reduce fatigue while protecting the surrounding vegetation from unnecessary damage. Piece by piece, the growing material pile begins to resemble a small lumberyard hidden deep within the rainforest. The vision is slowly becoming reality. At this stage, there are no walls, no roof, no furniture, only raw materials and a magnificent fallen tree waiting to be transformed. Yet experienced bushcraft enthusiasts understand that this quiet preparation phase forms the true foundation of every successful shelter. The most impressive cabins aren't built through speed, they're built through planning. Every carefully chosen pole, every cleared pathway, every inspected support point, every organized stack of timber. Each seemingly simple task contributes to the final structure's safety, durability, and comfort. As the first chapter of this ambitious project draws to a close, the worksite is finally ready for real construction to begin. The location has been selected, the foundation has been inspected, the first building materials have been gathered, and the giant fallen tree now stands ready to become something extraordinary. Now that the worksite has been prepared and the first collection of building materials is ready, the project enters one of its most important stages, creating the structural foundation of the shelter. Everything that follows depends on the strength and accuracy of the framework built during these next few hours. Standing beside the enormous fallen tree, the builder takes another careful look at the natural shape of the trunk. Rather than forcing the forest to fit a predetermined design, he adapts his plan to the contours already created by nature. This philosophy lies at the heart of true bushcraft. Instead of overpowering the environment, you work with it. The fallen tree already provides an elevated spine for the shelter. Its massive trunk serves as the central support, reducing the amount of construction required while offering remarkable strength. Even so, additional supports are essential to distribute weight evenly and ensure long-term stability. The first heavy poles are carried into position. Each one has been selected for its straightness and strength. Before installation, small branches and rough edges are trimmed away, creating smooth surfaces that fit tightly against one another. Precision matters. A poorly fitted joint may seem acceptable at first, but after days of rain, changing temperatures, and constant pressure, even a small weakness can become a serious structural problem. Every cut is made deliberately, ensuring the pieces fit together as naturally as possible. The builder positions the first support beam beneath the trunk, checking its angle several times before committing to its final location. This single piece will help transfer weight from the elevated tree down into the ground, reducing stress on the natural supports already holding the fallen giant. Using strong vines gathered from nearby vegetation, he begins fastening the timber together. Unlike modern construction that relies on nails and screws, traditional bushcraft depends heavily on lashings. Properly tied natural cordage can create remarkably strong joints when tension is applied correctly. The secret lies not in excessive force, but in consistent, even pressure across every wrap. The vines are pulled tight, loop after loop, gradually locking the beams together. Each knot is inspected before moving on. Nothing is rushed. The forest rewards patience. With the first support securely in place, attention turns to the opposite side of the trunk. Balance is critical. Supporting only one side would create uneven pressure, increasing the risk of movement over time. Matching supports are installed carefully, creating symmetry across the entire structure. As more beams are added, the shelter begins to take shape. Not yet as a cabin, but as the skeleton that will eventually support walls, roofing, and a comfortable living space. The repetitive rhythm of construction settles in. Lift, position, trim, tie, inspect, repeat. Every movement reflects years of practical experience. There is no wasted motion, no unnecessary effort. Each task flows naturally into the next, conserving valuable energy in the demanding rainforest environment. After securing the primary supports, the builder begins installing horizontal crossbeams. These pieces connect the vertical supports together, preventing side-to-side movement while creating a stable platform for the future floor. One by one, the beams are carefully measured by eye. Experienced craftsmen rarely require measuring tapes in the wilderness. Instead, they rely on observation, proportion, and constant adjustment. Small imperfections are corrected immediately before they have an opportunity to grow into larger problems later. The tropical rainforest continues its endless soundtrack around the construction site. Bright birds call from the canopy. Hidden insects hum beneath the leaves. Occasionally, distant sounds echo through the trees, reminding us that this peaceful forest is home to countless unseen animals going about their daily lives. Construction pauses briefly as another supply run becomes necessary. Although many poles have already been gathered, the growing framework reveals the need for additional materials. This is common in bushcraft projects. No matter how carefully you plan, the forest often encourages adaptation along the way. Returning to the surrounding woodland, the builder searches for more straight saplings. Each tree is selected responsibly, avoiding unnecessary waste and preserving the surrounding ecosystem wherever possible. Sustainable harvesting ensures that the forest remains healthy long after the shelter has been completed. Freshly cut poles are trimmed immediately before being carried back to the worksite. Despite their size, transporting these materials alone requires remarkable endurance. Uneven terrain, slippery ground, tangled vines, and humid weather combine to make every trip physically demanding. Back at the shelter, the growing pile of timber once again begins to shrink as each pole finds its place within the expanding structure. Now attention shifts toward constructing the floor. The platform will eventually become the heart of the cabin, a dry, elevated space where sleeping, cooking, and resting can all take place safely above the damp jungle floor. Long support beams are positioned parallel across the framework. Each one is carefully aligned before being tied into place. Spacing is equally important. Too wide and the flooring may flex under weight. Too narrow and valuable materials are wasted unnecessarily. Finding the perfect balance demonstrates both experience and efficiency. As additional cross supports are installed, the framework becomes noticeably more rigid. What was once simply a collection of individual poles now behaves as a single, unified structure. This transformation is one of the most satisfying moments in any construction project. Individual pieces become something far stronger together than they could ever be alone. With the primary frame complete, smaller poles begin filling the spaces between the larger beams. These secondary supports will eventually carry the floor itself. Working carefully along the elevated trunk, the builder checks each connection by applying body weight gradually. Small movements are corrected immediately through additional lashings or minor adjustments in beam placement. Safety always comes before speed. A few extra minutes spent strengthening the framework today may prevent hours of repairs or serious injury later. As the afternoon sun filters softly through the dense canopy, the shelter slowly rises above the forest floor. The enormous fallen tree that first appeared as nothing more than a natural curiosity is now becoming the central feature of an extraordinary elevated home. Looking from a distance, the outline of the future cabin is finally becoming visible. The platform stretches confidently across the trunk. Support beams extend firmly into the ground. cross braces create a strong geometric pattern beneath the structure. Every hour of preparation is beginning to pay off. The rainforest, once untouched, now contains the early stages of an impressive handcrafted shelter that blends naturally into its surroundings. There is still an enormous amount of work ahead. Walls must be built. A roof must provide protection from tropical rain. Furniture, storage, and cooking areas all remain to be created. But the hardest part of any structure is establishing a reliable foundation. Without it, nothing else can last. Fortunately, this framework has been built with patience, careful planning, and respect for both craftsmanship and nature. As daylight continues, the builder steps back once again to inspect his progress. Every support appears solid. Every joint remains tight. The platform stands firm against the giant fallen tree, ready for the next exciting phase of construction. With the primary framework now standing strong above the rainforest floor, the project reaches an exciting milestone. What has so far been little more than a collection of beams and supports is about to become a true platform, the foundation of an elevated wilderness home. The builder begins by selecting dozens of long, straight poles that were gathered earlier. Although they may appear similar at first glance, each one is inspected carefully. Any sections showing cracks, rot, or excessive curvature are set aside. Only the strongest materials earn a place in the main floor. Quality is never sacrificed for speed. In bushcraft, every component must withstand not only body weight, but also the relentless forces of nature. Heavy tropical rain, constant humidity, shifting temperatures, and months of exposure can quickly reveal hidden weaknesses. Choosing reliable materials now ensures the shelter will remain safe long after construction is complete. One by one, the poles are lifted onto the platform frame. The first few pieces establish the alignment for everything that follows. They are positioned carefully, running perpendicular across the support beams. Small adjustments are made until the spacing looks even from every angle. The builder pauses frequently, stepping back to examine the layout before securing each section. This habit of constantly reviewing progress separates experienced craftsmen from beginners. Rather than discovering mistakes at the end, corrections are made while they remain simple. Once satisfied with the positioning, the poles are tied firmly into place using natural vines. The lashings are wrapped repeatedly around both the floor poles and the supporting beams beneath them. Every loop adds strength, locking the entire structure together until it behaves as one solid platform rather than dozens of individual pieces. As more flooring is installed, the transformation becomes dramatic. The open skeleton of the shelter slowly disappears beneath an expanding wooden deck. For the first time, it becomes possible to imagine standing comfortably above the forest floor. Walking cautiously across the unfinished platform, the builder checks for movement. Each step provides valuable information. If a section flexes too much, another support beam is added. If one pole sits slightly higher than the others, it is adjusted before the next row continues. Nothing is left to chance. The goal is not simply to create a floor, it is to create a floor that feels secure underfoot. As the work progresses, sunlight filters through the rainforest canopy, casting moving patterns of light and shadow across the fresh timber. The surrounding jungle seems almost to celebrate the steady rhythm of construction. Birdsong echoes through the trees. A gentle breeze stirs the leaves high above. Somewhere nearby, insects continue their endless chorus. Despite the hard physical labor, there is a peaceful quality to the work. Without the noise of engines or power tools, every sound belongs naturally to the forest. Only the occasional strike of a hand tool and the tightening of vines interrupt the quiet harmony. After completing one section of flooring, the builder kneels to inspect the lashings once more. Natural cordage behaves differently from synthetic rope. As vines begin to dry, they often tighten naturally, creating even stronger joints. However, they must be wrapped correctly from the beginning to take advantage of this characteristic. Each knot is pulled firmly before the next one begins. Strong construction is built from hundreds of careful decisions rather than a few dramatic moments. As the floor expands, another challenge becomes clear. The giant fallen tree itself has an uneven surface. Some areas rise higher than others. Instead of fighting against these natural curves, the builder adapts the platform around them, allowing the cabin to blend seamlessly with its living foundation. This willingness to work with nature rather than against it is one of the defining principles of traditional bushcraft. The forest provides the materials. The builder provides the vision. Together, they create something neither could accomplish alone. With the flooring nearly complete, attention shifts toward reinforcing the outer edges. Additional poles are installed along the perimeter, creating stronger borders that help distribute weight more evenly across the structure. These edge supports will also provide secure attachment points for future walls and railings. Again, the importance of planning becomes evident. Every beam installed today serves multiple purposes later in the project. Nothing is unnecessary. Every piece contributes to the strength and functionality of the finished cabin. Once the outer frame is reinforced, the builder slowly walks across the platform again. This time, the difference is immediately noticeable. Instead of carefully balancing on narrow beams, he now moves confidently across a broad, stable surface. The shelter is beginning to feel less like a construction site and more like a home. Standing atop the completed platform offers a completely different perspective of the rainforest. Elevated above the damp forest floor, the surrounding landscape stretches outward beneath the towering canopy. From this height, airflow improves significantly. Visibility increases. The sounds of the jungle seem even richer. This elevation also offers practical advantages. Ground moisture remains below. Many crawling insects become less of a problem. Heavy rainwater flows harmlessly beneath the shelter instead of collecting around it. Nature itself has provided the perfect location. Construction pauses briefly while another bundle of poles is prepared. The next stage will require lighter, straighter materials suitable for vertical framing. Unlike the heavy support beams used for the platform, these pieces will eventually define the shape of the cabin itself. Each pole is trimmed carefully, removing bark where necessary to improve contact between joints. The growing pile of prepared timber hints at what comes next: walls, windows, a doorway. The simple platform will soon evolve into an enclosed shelter capable of protecting its occupant from both weather and wildlife. Before beginning that stage, however, the builder performs one final inspection of the floor. He kneels at each corner, checking lashings. He presses downward on every edge. He gently rocks several beams, listening for unwanted movement. Everything appears remarkably solid. Considering the entire structure has been built almost entirely with materials gathered from the surrounding forest, the result is impressive. No heavy machinery, no manufactured lumber, no modern construction equipment, only careful planning, skilled craftsmanship, and respect for natural resources. As afternoon light continues streaming through the canopy, the platform stands complete, strong, level, and ready for the next chapter of construction. The enormous fallen tree that once lay forgotten in the jungle has become the foundation of something extraordinary. In the next stage, the shelter will finally begin rising into 3 dimensions as vertical posts, wall frames, and the first outlines of the cabin transform this sturdy platform into a true bushcraft treehouse hidden deep within the rainforest. With the elevated platform now complete and standing firmly atop the giant fallen tree, the project reaches another major milestone. Until now, the structure has been open to the surrounding forest. But over the next several hours, this sturdy deck will gradually transform into a true wilderness cabin, complete with walls, structural framing, and the unmistakable shape of a home. Standing on the newly finished platform, the builder surveys the available space one more time. Every decision made from this point forward will determine not only the shelter's appearance, but also its ability to withstand heavy tropical rains, strong winds, and the constant humidity of the rainforest. Rather than rushing into construction, he begins by carefully selecting the straightest poles from the remaining pile of timber. These poles are noticeably thinner than the heavy beams used for the platform. Their purpose is different. Instead of supporting enormous weight, they will define the cabin's walls and roof while providing attachment points for future structural elements. Each pole is trimmed carefully. Small branches are removed. Uneven sections are smoothed. The ends are shaped to create tighter contact where different pieces will meet. Even these seemingly minor adjustments contribute significantly to the strength of the final structure. The first vertical support is lifted into position at one corner of the platform. For a few moments, it stands freely while the builder studies its alignment from several different angles. It must remain perfectly upright before any lashings are applied. Once satisfied, he begins securing it using strong natural vines. Each wrap is tightened with consistent pressure, locking the upright firmly against the platform frame below. The same process is repeated at every corner. Slowly, 4 sturdy posts rise above the deck. For the first time, the cabin has height. Its footprint is no longer defined only by the floor. Now the outline of an enclosed shelter begins to emerge from the forest. Additional vertical supports are installed between the corner posts. These intermediate supports will strengthen the walls while reducing the distance between structural members. Closer spacing means greater rigidity. Greater rigidity means better resistance against storms. Bushcraft construction may appear simple, but every design choice reflects generations of practical knowledge developed through experience in the wilderness. As the framework grows taller, horizontal beams are added to connect each upright. These beams create the upper wall frame, tying every post together into a unified structure. With each new connection, the cabin becomes noticeably stronger. The once independent poles now behave like a single framework, distributing forces evenly throughout the entire shelter. The builder pauses occasionally, applying gentle pressure to various sections. If any movement is detected, another brace is added immediately. This constant testing ensures that weaknesses are corrected before construction advances further. Soon, diagonal braces begin appearing between the vertical posts. Although these pieces may seem insignificant, they play an essential role. Without diagonal bracing, a structure can sway sideways under wind pressure. With proper bracing, the entire frame becomes dramatically more stable. It's a simple principle of engineering that has been used for centuries in buildings across the world. The rainforest continues surrounding the construction site with its endless soundtrack. Bright tropical birds call overhead. Leaves flutter softly in the breeze. Occasionally, a distant animal can be heard somewhere beyond the dense vegetation. The shelter itself seems to blend naturally into this environment. Instead of dominating the landscape, it complements it. The colors of freshly cut timber match the surrounding forest. The massive fallen tree remains the centerpiece of the design. Nature and craftsmanship exist together in perfect balance. With the primary wall frame completed, attention shifts toward the entrance. Every shelter needs an efficient doorway. Too large and valuable wall strength is lost. Too small and daily movement becomes inconvenient. The builder carefully measures the opening using visual proportions rather than modern tools. 2 additional posts are installed to define the entrance. A strong horizontal beam is secured across the top. Immediately, the doorway becomes recognizable. It is no longer simply an opening. It is the welcoming entrance to a future home deep within the jungle. Next comes the window framing. Rather than enclosing every side completely, strategically placed openings allow fresh air to circulate throughout the cabin. In tropical climates, ventilation is critical. Without proper airflow, moisture accumulates quickly, leading to discomfort and deterioration. These windows will eventually allow cool breezes to pass through while providing beautiful views of the surrounding rainforest. Standing inside the unfinished frame, the builder can already imagine the completed shelter. Morning sunlight filtering through the windows, rain falling harmlessly outside, a warm fire glowing safely within. The vision is gradually becoming reality. Construction continues with remarkable consistency. Lift, position, align, tie, inspect, repeat. The rhythm never changes. Each movement builds upon the previous one. Hours pass almost unnoticed as the framework slowly climbs higher. Now attention turns toward one of the most important structural components, the roof supports. Heavy tropical rainfall demands a roof capable of shedding water quickly. A flat roof would collect water, increasing weight and creating leaks. Instead, angled roof beams are installed to create a steep pitch. Each rafter extends upward from opposite walls before meeting near the center line of the cabin. One after another, these rafters establish the familiar triangular profile seen in traditional wilderness shelters. This shape serves several purposes simultaneously. It strengthens the overall structure. It channels rainwater efficiently. It creates valuable headroom inside the cabin. It also provides space beneath the roof where warm air can rise naturally, improving comfort during humid conditions. As more rafters are secured, the shelter begins looking less like an elevated platform and more like a genuine cabin. Viewed from a distance, the transformation is remarkable. Only a few hours earlier, this location contained little more than a giant fallen tree. Now an impressive framework rises confidently above the forest floor. The cabin's proportions appear balanced. Its structure feels solid. Every beam contributes to a cohesive design that looks both practical and elegant. Before ending the day's framing work, the builder performs another comprehensive inspection. Every joint is examined. Every lashing is tightened. Every support is tested under pressure. Small corrections are made wherever necessary. There is great satisfaction in reaching this stage. The foundation is complete. The platform is secure. The walls now stand proudly. The roof frame reaches skyward, waiting for its protective covering. The shelter is no longer just an idea. It has become a visible, tangible structure, taking shape among the towering rainforest trees. Yet there is still much work ahead. The walls remain open. The roof has not yet been covered. Inside, the cabin is still exposed to the elements. But with the structural framework successfully completed, the most demanding engineering challenges are now behind us. With the structural frame now standing proudly above the giant fallen tree, the shelter has reached a turning point. The skeleton of the cabin is complete, but it still offers little protection from the elements. The tropical rainforest is unpredictable. Sunshine can disappear within minutes, replaced by heavy rain capable of soaking everything in its path. The next objective is clear: enclose the structure and create a cabin that is both durable and comfortable. Standing inside the open frame, the builder looks upward toward the roof supports installed earlier. These angled rafters will soon carry one of the most important parts of the entire shelter: the roof. A well-built roof is the first line of defense against nature. Even the strongest walls are useless if rain can pour directly into the living space. Before adding the roofing material, additional horizontal battens are secured across the rafters. These smaller poles act as a supporting grid, creating evenly spaced attachment points that will hold the roof covering firmly in place. Each batten is tied carefully using natural vines. Again, every knot receives equal attention. In wilderness construction, consistency is often more valuable than speed. A rushed lashing may hold today but fail during the first heavy storm. A properly secured joint can last for months. Once the roof framework is complete, the builder heads back into the surrounding forest to gather roofing material. Rather than relying on manufactured supplies, nature provides everything required. Large palm leaves and broad tropical foliage are carefully harvested. Each leaf is selected based on its size, flexibility, and condition. Fresh green leaves are preferred because they remain pliable during installation and overlap tightly to create a naturally waterproof surface. Bundles of leaves begin accumulating beside the cabin. Although each individual leaf appears insignificant, together they will form a protective barrier capable of shedding enormous amounts of rainfall. Back on the platform, installation begins from the lowest edge of the roof. This technique is essential. Each new layer overlaps the previous one, much like shingles on a modern house. As rainwater flows downward, it passes harmlessly over each overlapping layer instead of finding its way inside. The builder works patiently across the roof. Bundle after bundle is tied securely into place. Every row covers the lashings beneath it, creating a clean, uniform appearance. The process may seem repetitive, but it demands remarkable concentration. Small gaps can allow water to penetrate during heavy rain. Even spacing ensures both strength and effective drainage. As more leaves are added, the transformation becomes dramatic. The exposed rafters slowly disappear beneath a thick blanket of green vegetation. Viewed from a distance, the roof blends beautifully into the surrounding rainforest. Its natural colors camouflage the cabin, making it appear almost like part of the forest itself. This harmony with nature is one of the defining characteristics of traditional bushcraft shelters. Nothing looks artificial. Everything feels as though it belongs exactly where it is. With one side of the roof complete, the builder repeats the entire process on the opposite slope. Working at height requires careful balance. Every movement is controlled. Every step is deliberate. Despite the challenging conditions, progress remains steady. Hours of patient craftsmanship gradually produce a roof capable of withstanding the rainforest's demanding climate. Once both sides are covered, the ridge at the top receives special attention. Additional layers of leaves are placed over the peak to prevent rainwater from entering where the two roof sections meet. This finishing detail greatly improves weather resistance and extends the life of the shelter. Standing back for a moment, the builder admires the result. For the first time, the cabin offers genuine protection from above. The outline of a finished home is becoming unmistakable. Attention now shifts toward the walls. While the roof protects against rainfall, the walls provide privacy, security, and shelter from wind. Long, straight poles are positioned vertically between the structural supports. These are woven together using thinner branches and flexible vines. The weaving process is both practical and visually appealing. Each branch locks the others into place, creating surprisingly rigid wall panels without the need for nails or screws. The rhythm of construction continues. Insert, weave, tighten, trim, repeat. The cabin slowly becomes enclosed. Open spaces that once exposed the interior to the surrounding forest now transform into solid natural walls. Despite the enclosure, several carefully planned window openings remain. These windows are positioned to maximize airflow while preserving structural integrity. Good ventilation is essential in tropical environments. Fresh air reduces humidity, improves comfort, and helps prevent mold from forming inside the shelter. The doorway also begins receiving additional attention. Extra reinforcement is added around the frame to ensure it remains strong despite frequent use. Unlike permanent buildings, bushcraft shelters rely heavily on intelligent structural design rather than heavy construction materials. Every support must serve multiple purposes: strength, stability, efficiency. As afternoon sunlight filters through the remaining open sections, beautiful patterns dance across the wooden floor. The atmosphere inside the cabin already feels different. Instead of standing exposed in the jungle, there is now a growing sense of shelter, a place of safety, a place of rest, a place to call home, even if only temporarily. The builder pauses briefly inside the unfinished cabin. Looking outward through the framed windows, the rainforest appears almost like a series of living paintings. Towering trees sway gently. Birds move effortlessly between branches. The distant sounds of flowing water echo softly through the forest. These carefully positioned openings will allow future occupants to remain connected with nature while staying protected from the elements. Returning to work, smaller gaps in the walls are filled using additional woven vegetation. Every opening is examined carefully. Where extra insulation is needed, more material is added. Where airflow is important, small ventilation spaces are intentionally left. This balance between protection and ventilation is one of the greatest challenges of tropical shelter design. By late afternoon, the cabin has undergone an astonishing transformation. Only a short time ago, it consisted of little more than an elevated platform supported by a giant fallen tree. Now it possesses recognizable walls, a complete roof, defined windows, a reinforced entrance. Its silhouette stands proudly among the surrounding trees, blending naturally into the rainforest landscape. The craftsmanship is impressive, not because of expensive materials, but because of thoughtful design and careful execution. Every pole was gathered by hand. Every vine was tied individually. Every leaf was placed with purpose. Nothing has been wasted. Nothing has been rushed. Before ending this stage of construction, the builder performs another thorough inspection. He gently presses against each wall section, checks the roof from multiple angles, retightens several lashings, removes loose material that could catch the wind. These small finishing touches greatly increase the shelter's durability. With daylight beginning to soften beneath the rainforest canopy, the cabin finally resembles a true wilderness home, protected from rain, sheltered from wind, raised safely above the damp forest floor. Yet despite this remarkable progress, the interior remains almost empty. There is still no place to sleep, no cooking area, no furniture, no fire. Those essential comforts will become the focus of the next stage. From shelter to home, catch, cook, and a night above the rainforest. The hardest part of the project is finally behind us. What began as nothing more than a gigantic fallen tree lying silently in the middle of the rainforest has now become something truly remarkable, an elevated bushcraft cabin, handcrafted entirely from the resources provided by nature. But a shelter isn't complete simply because it has walls and a roof. A true wilderness home must provide warmth, comfort, food, and a sense of security. Now, the focus shifts from construction to survival. Stepping inside the newly completed cabin, the builder pauses for a moment, taking in everything that has been accomplished. Sunlight streams gently through the handcrafted windows, casting beautiful golden patterns across the wooden floor. A cool breeze flows naturally through the cabin, carrying with it the rich scent of damp earth, fresh leaves, and tropical flowers. For the first time since arriving in this remote rainforest, there is a feeling that this place is no longer just another construction site. It feels like home. But every home needs an interior. The empty floor soon becomes a workspace once again. Long, straight bamboo poles are brought inside and arranged carefully across one side of the cabin. These aren't random pieces of wood. They will soon become a raised sleeping platform. Sleeping directly on the floor, even inside a shelter, is rarely comfortable in humid environments. By raising the bed several inches, air can circulate underneath, reducing moisture while creating a much more comfortable resting place. Each bamboo pole is cut to equal length. Their surfaces are smoothed with careful knife work. The builder works methodically, ensuring every piece sits tightly against the next. Strong vines once again become the only fasteners required. One knot after another, one wrap after another. The bamboo slowly transforms into a remarkably sturdy bed frame. Despite using only natural materials, the craftsmanship is impressive. Every connection is clean, every support feels solid. When the builder carefully climbs onto the platform to test it, it barely moves. That quiet moment says everything. The structure is ready. A simple layer of fresh leaves and soft forest vegetation is spread across the surface, creating a surprisingly comfortable natural mattress. It may not rival a modern bed, but after a full day of heavy labor deep in the rainforest, it will feel luxurious. With the sleeping area complete, attention turns toward another essential part of survival: food. Construction burns an incredible amount of energy. Hours of lifting heavy timber, climbing, cutting, tying, and carrying materials have consumed thousands of calories. Now those calories must be replaced. Leaving the cabin behind, the builder walks quietly through the rainforest. Unlike earlier trips for timber, today's mission requires silence. The jungle is alive. Every movement matters. Every sound carries. The destination soon becomes clear. A peaceful stream winds gently through the forest, its crystal clear water flowing over smooth stones polished by countless years of movement. Streams like these are lifelines in tropical forests. They provide drinking water after proper treatment. They attract wildlife, and most importantly, they often contain fish. Standing motionless beside the water, the builder watches patiently. Bushcraft isn't about forcing nature, it's about understanding it. Minutes pass without movement. Only the sound of flowing water fills the air. Then, a flash beneath the surface, small fish glide effortlessly through the current. Rather than acting immediately, the builder studies their pattern, where they swim, how they react to shadows, which pools they prefer. Observation always comes before action. Using a simple handcrafted fishing tool, the hunt begins. Every movement is calm, every step is deliberate, the water remains almost undisturbed. Then suddenly, a quick strike, a splash. Success. The first fish has been caught. Fresh, healthy, and earned entirely through patience and skill. After securing several fish, the builder returns toward the cabin. The setting sun now filters through the rainforest canopy, bathing everything in warm amber light. The forest begins changing. Daytime birds grow quieter. Evening insects become louder. Nature is preparing for another night. Back at the shelter, preparations for dinner begin. Outside the cabin, a safe cooking area is arranged. Fire is one of humanity's oldest survival tools. It provides warmth, protection, light, and the ability to cook food safely. Dry sticks collected earlier are arranged carefully into a small fire lay. Finding dry fuel in a rainforest isn't always easy. Even after sunny days, much of the forest remains damp beneath the canopy. Fortunately, experienced bushcrafters know exactly where to look. Dead branches suspended above the ground often remain surprisingly dry. Thin twigs are placed first, then slightly larger sticks. Finally, thicker fuel wood is stacked nearby for later. With practiced hands, the fire is lit. At first, only a tiny flame appears, almost fragile. But with careful feeding and steady airflow, it quickly grows into a bright, dancing fire. Golden light flickers against the wooden walls of the cabin. Smoke rises gently through the still evening air. The atmosphere changes completely. The shelter suddenly feels alive. The freshly caught fish are cleaned beside the stream. Every usable part is prepared carefully. Nothing is wasted. Simple seasoning gathered from carried supplies enhances the natural flavor without overpowering it. The fish are placed over the glowing coals. Immediately, the fire begins its work. The skin slowly turns golden brown. Tiny drops of natural oil drip onto the hot charcoal, creating gentle, sizzling sounds. An irresistible aroma spreads through the rainforest. Combined with the scent of burning hardwood, it creates the unmistakable smell of wilderness cooking. There is something deeply satisfying about eating food gathered directly from nature. No supermarket, no kitchen appliances, just skill, patience, and respect for the environment. As darkness slowly settles over the jungle, dinner is finally ready. The builder sits quietly outside the cabin, enjoying the meal while listening to the rainforest transform for the night. The sounds become richer. Tree frogs begin calling. Crickets create an endless rhythm. Occasionally, distant animals announce their presence somewhere beyond the darkness. Yet inside this handcrafted shelter, there is no fear, only peace, only satisfaction. Because every beam, every knot, every leaf has contributed to creating a safe refuge in the middle of one of the world's most challenging environments. The warm meal is more than just food. It is proof that survival is about much more than endurance. It is about adapting, learning, creating, and living in harmony with nature. As the last rays of sunlight disappear beyond the rainforest canopy, glowing embers continue dancing beside the cabin. The completed shelter stands proudly atop the giant fallen tree, illuminated by the soft orange light of the fire. What was once only an ambitious idea has become reality, a remarkable bushcraft home, built entirely by hand, deep inside the rainforest. And the adventure isn't over yet, because the greatest test of any wilderness shelter begins only after the sun goes down. A storm, a fire, and the ultimate test of the bushcraft treehouse. As the final glow of sunset disappears beyond the endless rainforest canopy, a completely different world begins to awaken. The vibrant greens of the jungle slowly fade into deep shades of blue and black. One by one, the daytime birds fall silent. In their place, thousands of insects begin performing nature's nighttime symphony. Tree frogs call from hidden pools. Crickets create an endless rhythm. Somewhere in the darkness, an owl announces its territory. The rainforest never truly sleeps. It simply changes shifts. Inside the handcrafted cabin, however, there is an entirely different atmosphere. Warm, dry, peaceful. The soft orange glow of the fire dances across the wooden walls, turning every bamboo pole into a moving work of art. Shadows sway gently as the flames crackle below. After days of relentless labor, this simple shelter finally feels alive. Every beam overhead tells a story. Every knot represents patience. Every woven wall carries the memory of hours spent gathering, cutting, and building beneath the tropical sun. This is no longer just a survival shelter. It has become a sanctuary. The builder places another carefully selected log onto the fire. Immediately, sparks burst upward like hundreds of tiny fireflies, disappearing into the night sky. The gentle crackling creates one of the most comforting sounds found anywhere in nature. There is something deeply satisfying about sitting beside a fire that you created yourself. Inside a shelter that you built with your own hands, deep in a rainforest where nothing came easily. No electricity, no machines, no shortcuts, only knowledge, persistence, and respect for nature. Dinner has already been enjoyed. Now comes one of the greatest rewards after an exhausting day of bushcraft. Simply sitting still. Looking through the open window, the forest reveals an entirely new personality. Moonlight filters softly through towering trees. Mist slowly begins drifting between the trunks. The distant stream continues flowing exactly as it has for centuries. Nothing rushes, nothing competes for attention. Everything moves according to nature's rhythm. For many people, silence can feel uncomfortable. But here, silence is never truly silent. It is filled with life. The chirping of insects, the whisper of leaves, the occasional splash from the nearby stream. Even the gentle movement of the wind across the roof becomes part of an orchestra that no human composer could ever recreate. The builder carefully inspects the cabin one final time before resting. Every wall remains firm. Every roof lashing holds tightly. The floor feels just as solid as when it was first completed. This inspection isn't driven by worry. It's driven by habit. Experienced outdoorsmen understand that a shelter should always be checked before nightfall. Small problems discovered now are much easier to solve than unexpected surprises in the middle of the night. Everything appears perfect. The craftsmanship has paid off. As darkness deepens, the weather begins changing. A cool breeze moves through the forest. Leaves start rustling a little more aggressively. Far above the canopy, clouds quietly gather. The first distant rumble of thunder rolls across the rainforest. Not loud, not yet, but enough to remind us that tropical weather can change with astonishing speed. The wind strengthens, branches sway, the forest seems to hold its breath. Then, the very first raindrop lands on the roof. A second follows, then another. Within moments, the sky opens. Rain pours from the heavens in powerful tropical sheets. Water crashes through the canopy with incredible force. Leaves shake violently. Small streams begin forming across the forest floor. What only minutes ago felt peaceful has become an incredible demonstration of nature's raw power. Yet inside the cabin, everything remains calm. The roof performs exactly as intended. Thousands of carefully layered palm leaves channel water effortlessly down both sides. Not a single stream enters the living space. The overlapping design sheds the rain exactly like a professionally constructed roof. The walls block the wind. The elevated platform keeps the floor completely dry. Instead of fear, there is confidence. This moment is perhaps the greatest reward of the entire project. Every hour spent gathering leaves, every carefully tied knot, as every additional support beam, every extra layer of roofing now proves its value. The shelter isn't beautiful simply because of how it looks. It is beautiful because it works. Outside, rainwater rushes beneath the giant fallen tree. Small pools begin forming across the jungle floor. Had the shelter been built directly on the ground, everything inside would already be damp. Instead, the elevated design keeps the cabin high above the flooding water. This single design decision demonstrates why experienced bushcrafters always study the landscape before building. Preparation is survival. The rain continues for what feels like hours. Inside the cabin, the fire burns steadily. Its warmth fills the small living space. The combination of dry wood, natural insulation, and careful ventilation allows the fire to remain comfortable without filling the shelter with smoke. The atmosphere becomes almost magical. Outside, a powerful tropical storm. Inside, a warm wooden cabin glowing softly beneath dancing firelight. The contrast couldn't be more dramatic. Eventually, the thunder fades into the distance. The rain becomes lighter. Drop by drop, the storm slowly passes. Fresh, cool air flows through the windows. The rainforest smells cleaner than ever. Everything outside glistens beneath the returning moonlight. Tiny droplets sparkle on every leaf like thousands of diamonds scattered across the forest. It is one of nature's most breathtaking transformations. Satisfied that the shelter has passed its greatest test, the builder prepares for sleep. Climbing onto the bamboo bed, he stretches out beneath the protective roof. The natural mattress provides surprising comfort. Above, the gentle sound of occasional raindrops still falls from the trees. Beyond the walls, the rainforest continues its endless conversation through the night. Inside, there is only peace. There is a quiet satisfaction that cannot be purchased. It comes only from creating something meaningful with your own hands. This cabin is far more than wood and leaves. It represents patience, creativity, problem-solving, self-reliance, and an extraordinary connection with nature. As the fire slowly burns down to glowing embers, the builder closes his eyes. The giant fallen tree, once abandoned by nature, now supports a handcrafted home high above the rainforest floor. The ultimate test has been passed. The shelter has stood strong against the storm. And with the forest finally growing quiet once again, a well-earned night of rest begins. The sunrise above the rainforest, a bushcraft masterpiece complete. The night has finally passed. The tropical storm that only hours ago shook the towering trees has disappeared beyond the distant mountains, leaving behind a rainforest that feels completely transformed. Slowly, almost silently, the first light of dawn begins to touch the highest branches of the jungle canopy. Golden rays break through the morning mist, painting the forest with soft shades of amber and emerald green. Tiny droplets of rain still cling to every leaf. As the sunlight reaches them, they sparkle like thousands of tiny crystals scattered throughout the rainforest. It is impossible not to pause and admire the view. After witnessing the power of the storm, this peaceful sunrise feels even more rewarding. Nature has once again reminded us of one of its greatest lessons. No storm lasts forever, and every new day brings another opportunity to begin again. Inside the cabin, everything is exactly as it should be. The bamboo sleeping platform remains perfectly dry. The woven walls are still firm and secure. Not a single section of the roof has shifted despite hours of heavy rainfall. The carefully layered palm leaves performed flawlessly, channeling every drop safely away from the living space. For a bushcraft builder, there is no greater satisfaction. A shelter isn't judged by how beautiful it looks on a sunny afternoon. Its true value is measured by how well it protects you when nature is at its harshest. Last night's storm was the ultimate test, and this handcrafted treehouse passed with flying colors. As the builder slowly opens the doorway, a rush of cool morning air fills the cabin. The smell is incredible. Fresh rain, wet earth, wild flowers, rich forest soil. It is a fragrance that no artificial air freshener could ever imitate. Stepping out onto the elevated platform, the world seems almost magical. A thin blanket of mist drifts gently between the towering trees. Birds begin their morning songs from every direction. Some fly gracefully from branch to branch, while others search for breakfast among the freshly washed leaves. Far below, The small stream that provided yesterday's meal now flows a little faster after receiving the night's rainfall. The entire rainforest feels refreshed, reborn. Standing on the platform, the builder takes a long moment to simply appreciate the accomplishment. Just a few days earlier, this location contained nothing more than a massive fallen tree surrounded by dense vegetation. Most people would have walked past it without giving it a second thought. But experience sees opportunities where others see obstacles. That enormous fallen trunk became the foundation. The surrounding forest became the hardware store. Vines became rope, bamboo became furniture, palm leaves became roofing. Nature provided every essential material. The builder simply understood how to use them. That is the true spirit of bushcraft. It is not about conquering nature. It is about cooperating with it. With the morning fully underway, one final task remains: cleaning the campsite. Responsible bushcraft is about leaving as little impact as possible. Loose branches that are no longer needed are gathered together. Unused construction materials are neatly stacked for future repairs. Ashes from the fire are carefully managed. The surrounding area is inspected to ensure that nothing unnecessary has been left behind. Respect for the forest does not end when construction is complete. If anything, it becomes even more important, because this rainforest has provided everything needed for survival. The least we can do is treat it with care. Now comes one of the most satisfying moments of the entire adventure. For the first time, the camera slowly pulls away from the completed cabin. What was once seen only in close-up now reveals its full beauty. High above the rainforest floor, resting perfectly across the giant fallen tree, stands an extraordinary handcrafted home. Its palm leaf roof blends naturally into the surrounding canopy. The woven walls complement the colors of the forest. The elevated platform appears almost as though it has always belonged there. From this wider perspective, it becomes clear that this is far more than a simple survival shelter. It is a masterpiece of natural engineering. Every support beam has a purpose. Every lashing contributes to the strength. Every carefully selected pole fits into a design that feels both elegant and incredibly practical. Without using electricity, without heavy machinery, without modern construction equipment, an entire elevated cabin has been created almost entirely by hand. That achievement deserves admiration. The camera continues circling the completed shelter from different angles. Each perspective reveals another impressive detail. The steep roof designed to shed tropical rain. The sturdy platform suspended safely above the damp ground. The windows positioned perfectly for natural ventilation. The handcrafted doorway welcoming anyone fortunate enough to arrive here. Even the surrounding vegetation seems to embrace the cabin rather than reject it. Instead of disturbing the forest, the shelter has become part of it. Looking around one final time, the builder reflects on everything this journey has required. Hundreds of poles carried by hand, thousands of vines tied one knot at a time, countless trips through dense jungle searching for suitable materials, hours spent under the tropical sun, a night tested by heavy rain. And yet, every challenge became another lesson. Every obstacle inspired another solution. That is perhaps the greatest reward of projects like this. They teach patience, not the kind of patience that comes from waiting, but the kind that comes from continuing, one pole at a time, one knot at a time, one careful decision after another, until something extraordinary slowly appears. In today's world, we are surrounded by technology designed to make every task easier. Machines build houses, apps deliver food, electricity powers almost everything we do. Yet adventures like this remind us that the most powerful tool we possess has never changed: the human mind, combined with determination, creativity, and a willingness to learn. It remains capable of achieving incredible things. Imagine arriving here after a long journey through the rainforest, the sound of the stream nearby, the gentle breeze flowing through the windows, a small fire glowing outside as the sun sets beyond the trees. There are no traffic noises, no phones ringing, no city lights, only nature, only peace, only the quiet satisfaction of living simply. For many people, this represents something increasingly rare, a chance to disconnect from distractions and reconnect with the natural world. As the morning sun climbs higher into the sky, the rainforest grows brighter with every passing minute. Butterflies drift lazily between colorful flowers. A squirrel races effortlessly along the branches overhead. The sounds of the forest become louder as another day begins. Life continues exactly as it has for thousands of years. And now, This remarkable bushcraft cabin has become a small part of that timeless landscape. Before leaving, the builder pauses one final time. Looking back at the completed shelter, there is no celebration, no loud announcement, only a quiet smile. Because the cabin itself tells the story. It speaks of perseverance, of craftsmanship, of respect for nature, and of the incredible things that become possible when knowledge meets determination. As our journey comes to an end, one message stands above everything else. Bushcraft is not simply about surviving in the wilderness. It is about understanding it. It teaches us that nature is not an enemy to defeat, but a partner to work alongside. It reminds us that the greatest structures are not always built with expensive materials. Sometimes they are built with patience, with skill, with imagination, and with nothing more than what the forest is willing to provide. The camera rises higher and higher above the rainforest. The magnificent treehouse slowly becomes smaller beneath the endless sea of green. The giant fallen tree that once seemed like the end of one life has become the beginning of something entirely new. A symbol of resilience, a symbol of creativity, a symbol of what human hands can accomplish when guided by knowledge and respect for nature. Thank you for joining us on this incredible bushcraft adventure. If this journey inspired you, reminded you of the beauty of the natural world, or showed you the remarkable possibilities hidden within the wilderness, then it has achieved its purpose. Until our next adventure, keep exploring, keep learning, keep building, and never stop appreciating the extraordinary beauty that nature has to offer. Because sometimes, the greatest homes are not the ones we buy. They're the ones we build, with our own hands, one piece at a time.